There's a bit of a tall elephant in the room. We addressed it before. There's a very sincere omission. Someone's missing from tonight, and that would be the great, the amazing Angus Scrimm. Like, he should be here tonight. And I think, because this is Beyond Fest, and arguably you guys are the biggest, the loudest, the rowdiest, and most passionate motherfuckers here in Hollywood tonight, which is saying a lot. I think we could all talk to Angus for one moment by just giving him a boy on the count of 3. I think we can do that, right? 1, 2, 3, boy! That was for you, Angus. Thank you very much. Now, we have a lot to cover in 30 minutes. Not only do we have some amazing people from the original Phantasm that you just witnessed. Has anyone seen it for the first time tonight? Fuck yeah, that was awesome. So we have some cast, some crew. We also have some of the great people who have made Ravager, which I haven't seen, you guys probably haven't seen yet, and we want to see really bad. So, time is short. First up, without further ado, writer, director, producer, editor, cinematographer, probably caterer, Don Coscarelli. Thank you. Well, have a seat. We might as well bring some more people up right now. Let me get my little list here.
Before you do that,
okay.
I'll find my list here. Yes,
Oh, you have a list as well? We have lists. Can we compare lists?
I have a few people. Thank you so much for that wonderful reception. You are just too kind. And the only tragedy of this night, which I think Joe elucidated there, is the fact that Angus couldn't be here. Because I'm telling you that he would have loved to have been here and watched the movie again, and he was not only just a talented actor, but a dear friend of all of us in the Phantasm family, and we miss him so. A couple of people that I'd just like to thank. First off, I'd like to thank the Bad Robot crew. We have a couple of people here who did...
JJ, come on down, JJ. Where are you? JJ, no, JJ.
Well, I don't know if JJ's here, but it was through his kindness that created this lovely restoration. And one of the people I'd like to have him stand up, please, Robbie Stambler back there did the audio restoration, which I just love. And Josh Tate back there in production helped make this thing happen. Thank you, Josh. A couple other, we have some Phantasm crew who are in the audience, and I encourage everybody to seek them out in the intermission afterwards. They have stories that have never been told.
Get your shit signed by them, it makes it even more
Yes, Robert Del Valle, please stand up. Our unit production manager, Bob, did stunts. Bob put the whole thing together. The producer and father, and my father, Mr. Dak Coscarelli back there.
All because of him.
Yes, it is. We even have some of our camera team. Jackie Wellen is in here. Please stand, Jackie. She loves that Panavision camera around. We have a set designer, Mark Annerl, is in there somewhere, designed a beautiful mausoleum. And Mr. Chris Stone, who also did great music on Phantasms 2, 3, 4, and later you're going to watch Chris Stone's music in 5. On Phantasm 1, he was like a semi-intern guy, and he did all of the dwarf creature voices. Chris, please take a bow. Thank you.
Totally iconic, sir. I mean, like, all those, like... Yeah, excellent screeches, sir.
One note on Chris, some people don't know this about him. He was the actual voice of the original Pete's Dragon, and then he came and did our dwarf creatures. How cool is that?
Sorry I had to slum it, but here you are. No one's watching the old Pete's Dragon, so good job, sir. But we also have co-producer Paul Peppermint. Like, where's Paul?
Oh, come on
Paul,
down.
You gotta come down, Paul.
You know, there was going to be a gag beforehand with Paul that somehow didn't happen. But why don't you show them what you're carrying on your hand there, Paul?
I have the most important role in the movie, actually the smallest, but does anyone recognize this? Yes, I actually...
The most iconic digit in horror.
hired somebody from the camera crew, Jackie Wong, who's not here, and ended up, she was an art major. We spent hours and hours. She knew how to make gel clay molds of my hand and my finger. We fell in love through the middle of the night, got married, walked down the aisle to the Fiend from Phantasm.
How cool is that?
Angus was at the wedding.
Amazing. Yeah. Oh, you get one too, sir. Come on. Very important. And we might as well get the cast up here. We have the original OG cast here. Michael Baldwin. Where's Michael? There he is. Bill Thornberry. Bill. And the sexiest man in horror, I'm claiming it right now, Reggie Bannister. Michael, so nice to meet you. Holy crap. So, Michael, since you're here already, everyone else is probably going to shuffle down in a second. When was the last time you saw the movie?
Oh, did you introduce Cat Lester yet?
Wait, where's Cat? Is Cat here?
Yes.
Cat, oh my God, Lester lady herself! Cat Lester's here. Come on. Well, take a seat. We got about 30 seconds before we have to get to the next movie, so get all your hugs aside. Don, really quick. Oh my God, Reggie Bannister's here. Seriously.
A Ridge fan.
Reggie, here's a mic for you, sir.
Oh, okay.
Feel free to sing. Anybody, if anyone feels free to do a little musicianship, that's totally fine by us. Possibly.
Testing.
So, hi Don.
Hey Joe. Hi, how are you?
Check 1, 2.
So, you actually, first time that anyone's seen
Yes.
this.
And it did have one thing that we didn't have here. Tim League of Alamo Draft House actually had drone spears flying over the audience. It was pretty amazing.
The night is young. Knowing the Beyond Fest guys. By the way, Beyond Fest.
Thank you.
Seriously.
If we could take a second, and I just want to give a very, very warm thank you to Grant Moninger, who runs this American
Yes,
Fest.
Grant, Christian.
And Christian Parks, who put together this whole thing. Thank you, Christian.
Now, we could sit here all night and talk Phantasm, right? Like everything from the finger to all the musical numbers, everything. We could sit here for days. But let's stick to the future. Let's talk about the remastering of this film. When you showed it in Austin and we showed it in Fantastic Fest, and now, I mean, you can go on iTunes right now and see it in the top trailers. Phantasm, this movie that you made at 24?
Yeah, I can't believe that.
Feel jealous, seriously. Like, we all have a lot of work to do. What was it like having seen this film over the years, and you have multiple it's a franchise at this point, and to see this original film play to such a fantastic audience over 30 years later, what is that feeling like?
It's absolutely fucking mind-blowing. Because everybody here can attest what modest means we made that first film on. I mean, it was like all the effects, were Paul and some paper clips and tape, and a lot of fishing line, which brings me to this glorious restoration, because most of the filmmaker friends I have, when they watch their films, and certainly me, all I'm watching are the flaws. And when you're able to go through and just erase all that fishing line, man, that is just heaven.
Now, one of the things that's really tough sometimes when you watch something that's been remastered is, like, did anyone ever see Flash Gordon, the remaster of Flash Gordon, where you can actually see the fishing lines and you see where the makeup ends? Like, sometimes 4K can be very unforgiving. So aside from, say, like the fishing lines and stuff, what are some of the other things that the fine folks at Bad Robot, when they weren't making Star Wars, what were some of the things that they were doing that really made this film pop? Because I've read reviews, but I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. This movie could have been made last week. It looks so good. As a period film, of course, with all the hairs and the jeans and the
Well, that's so nice.
and button shirts.
What was really cool was JJ assigned his head of post-production, Ben Rosenblatt, who couldn't make it here tonight. But, they do a lot of business over at Photochem Laboratory, and then you can appreciate this. And Ben went over there and said, look, we need you to take the original camera negative and really scan it at your highest level, and we don't really want to pay you any money.
Photochem is not used to that at all.
And Photochem did that and did this wonderful job, and then brought it over into the Bad Robot and put it into their, they had a Mystica finishing system. And a couple, a whole bunch of other people, Juan Cabrera, Nate Orloff, and others who helped, in the time between when they weren't working on Star Wars or Star Trek, I'd get a phone call and it would be, come on over, Don, we got 4 hours tonight and you could do some color correction. And you know how valuable that time is, and essentially I had unlimited time to sit there and go, oh, that little flaw. Or, Paul, I don't know if you remember, but in one of the key moments of the film, you go back to your VHS tape and check this, but as the guys are going into the space skate room, the white room for the first time, at this very dramatic moment, and right there on the floor is this yellow bucket that somebody left there. And for decades I've been looking at that bucket, and everyone else is watching the actors, I'm watching the bucket, and they...
Right now Paul's going, that was totally me. That was totally me with the bucket, damn it.
So they just went in and erased it, and everything's beautiful.
Now, God, it looks fantastic, and it played great tonight. One of the things that, I've seen, like all of us, or many of us, since some people haven't seen it for the first time, one of the things that really struck me this time was the editing. And knowing that this was your third film, this is, in your 20s, and you had, this film has a very, almost experimental editing structure. Did that come about, was that part of the script? Was that something that you, found in the editing room, which was probably your bedroom? Where did that come from? Because it does really add to this, the feeling that this is a waking nightmare, and that's been one of the biggest compliments, and I'm sure you guys felt the same way. You have the scene where the tall man is standing over Jodie during the nightmare moment, and in most horror movies, or in most movies that have a dream sequence, that's where you cut to the kid waking up. That's where you cut to Michael waking up. And you save that for the very end of the movie. So it's completely fractured. It's almost Fellini-esque, dare I say. Please take that.
I'll take that.
Please take that compliment. Where did that stem from?
I think the idea was to keep some sort of a dreamlike logic, and I think early on when Paul and I were working in the editing, Paul also was the assistant editor on the film. I couldn't give you a simple reason as to why there was this nightmare logic to it, which is we weren't that organized in the editing room, and it wasn't like the nonlinear systems of today. Like if you had a little,
where did we put that scene?
and if the scene fell behind the editing bench, it was lost forever.
The special edition coming out.
Paul, you've worked with Don on Phantasm and also the much heralded Beastmaster, which needs a 4K restoration immediately. Record needs to look better. What was it like working with Don on this film? This was like one of your this was as independent as it comes, and that's one of the beautiful things about this movie is that it definitely represented the independent film day that just happened recently. This is as indie as it comes, and the fact that this is an indie film that spawned a Universal sequel, no small feat, sir.
You're talking about Don being 24 when he made this. This was actually the third movie I worked on with Don. So Don was 18 when he made his first feature that got sold to Universal, Jim the World's Greatest, and then 21 when he made Kenny and Company, which got sold to 20th Fox. So we had a lot of time together, knew all the moves that, and for us actually, you had a quiz up front about the budget. This is a big budget for us compared to the first two movies. So this was, it was a lot of fun making this.
Reggie, happy birthday, by the way. Belated birthday.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I became eternal a couple of days ago.
Looking great for 35, sir. What's beautiful about seeing this film again is knowing that we have 4 more movies with you, and 4 more movies where Reggie, who is the ultimate everyman, really shows, a wonderful arc and also gets laid in every single film, which gives hope.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I like that.
So, what kind of blackmail evidence do you have on Don to give you sex scenes in every film? Let's go, come on.
Well, you know, the thing is that when Reggie has a kind of a sex scene going on, he never really gets to finish. I don't know. Have you noticed that?
Phantasmus interruptus usually happens.
Yeah, interruptus. Yeah, Phantasm interruptus. And yeah, something will go on, and I have to jump up and run or something, or you know, slam a door, and all of a sudden the sphere is like going like that through the door, and I'm freaking out. And so yeah, he's got an unfortunate kind of sex life.
But what is it like being, I mean, you really are, more than any other character in the film, you are the archetype for the everyman hero, you know? And that was one, when I grew up watching every fucking movie I can get my hands on at the video store, it was great to know that, like, yeah, you have your Mad Maxes, you have your anti-heroes, but you always knew that Reggie was always going to be there with his ice cream truck, his 4-barreled shotgun, and the craziest libido possible in a horror film. Like, what do you think is the thing that makes Reggie so appealing? Because, you know, obviously Don, you know, the shepherd of this whole franchise would always have you come back, you know, obviously you either had blackmail evidence or you were just really great to work with. But there's something also very lasting about seeing how that character traverses through the entire series. What do you think it is about that character of Reggie over everybody else that makes people love him so much? And you.
Well, I think that the character that Don created, the Reggie character, is really, and I've said this before, every man's man. You know, anybody who sees him can relate to him. I mean, they can figure that if they, like I say, open the door and all of a sudden they're in a world of phantasm or shit, depending on, you know, how you want to relate to it, I suppose. Because it's not always shit. Sometimes it's, sometimes it's hot babes, you know, and sometimes it's, you know, looking bad with a 4-barrel, you know, that's nothing wrong with that, you know, 4 barrels. Anyway, yeah, I really liked shooting that thing off. That was a lot of fun. And of course, you know, the 4-barrel, because you're shooting blanks, you know, if anybody had, you know, that shot a gun of any kind, especially a shotgun, like a double barrel, oh my God, it just, you know, it raises, it goes bam. I'm glad I didn't go over in the back of the chair. Anyway, you'd have had to pick me up, Kat. Please. And, but anyway, you can imagine if it was like a real 4-barrel shotgun. And so I had a lot of fun with it, just, you know, because there was no kick at all. You know, dummy around or blanks, there's nothing going out, so there's nothing other than some flame, which is really cool. A lot of flame going out of that 4-barrel. But, so yeah, I'd see that flame and I was able to really act with that gun and really pull on it, and it was a lot of fun.
Plus you got that like really cool like army stance when you do it in part 2.
Oh yeah.
Trucker hat, you're a fucking badass, dude. Kat, welcome back. It is so nice to see you on the big screen again. When was the last time that you had seen Phantasm?
Well, first I have to say, he's not the only one that didn't get to finish. Bill didn't either.
There's a lot of Phantasmus interruptus going on here.
I wasn't shooting blanks though.
Oh! Also 4 barrels.
Wow.
From what I've heard.
Wow.
Just
What was your question?
What was it like watching this movie again tonight?
Oh, it's so nostalgic.
I did hear, I believe I heard a "not mine" when the boobs came out. I love the live color commentary. It's awesome.
Do you all know that story about
No.
them not being mine? Wow. Wow. We were supposed to shoot this scene. It was in the middle of the night, maybe early morning, and it was supposed to be a closed set, and I was supposed to do this scene in my lingerie. And when I got called out to do the scene, I see all these young guys that had come out from the nearest university. They heard about this. And I said to Don, I'm not doing this scene. I'm not doing it. It's supposed to be a closed set. And he said, well, do you mind if we get a body double? And I thought, oh, I don't care if you get a body double. We'll just shoot around the scene, right? And so, wow, was it a year later or so? I show up to the screening with my mother. And I'm sitting there enjoying everything, and there I am oohing and ahhing, and all of a sudden I see breasts 50 feet high by 50 wide, and I let out this scream, and you and Paul, they're sitting behind me laughing her asses off. My mother turns to me, she says, Kat, you should have done the scene. You're just so much better. That's my mama.
Mother knows best.
Joe, I just want to interrupt for a second. There is one other surprise visitor here who I'd forgotten about, which is Kat's love interest at the beginning of the film. We actually have Tommy is
Tommy's
in the
here
house.
tonight?
Mr. Bill Cohn, could you
Oh,
please
baby.
stand up and take a bow?
Tommy.
There he is, yeah.
Guy like a champ, sir.
You know, Bill and Bill's a fantastic musician. And Bill and I were playing music together at the time when we were shooting this. And we're, playing coffee houses, stuff like that, and in the Long Beach and I think Seal Beach area. And so it was really neat that, Bill, I think one day we were rehearsing, and he said, I've always wanted to be in a horror film. And he knew I was going to do this Phantasm thing. And I said, well, let me see what I can do about that. So, I talked to Don about it, and Don, loved our music and, knew Bill and dug him. And sure enough, we decided to kill him in a graveyard. How'd you feel about that, Bill? You like that? Yeah.
Bill's very happy with his death scene in the beginning. You had a love scene and a death scene all in the first 30 seconds. You're really happy, sir. And in 4K now. Fantastic. Michael, what's great about seeing all these movies together, especially, if we're all lucky we get to see them in succession, we're going to see the latest edition very, very soon. What is it like watching yourself grow up on the big screen?
It's weird. It's really strange.
Since you've been one of the fortunate actors who've been working with Don throughout the course of the films, and I extend this to everybody here, but how has Don's directing style changed, if at all? Is he still a screamer?
Coscarelli is not a screamer. He's not that kind of director. It's a very collaborative affair. How has it changed? Well, we've all of us grown up all this time, and so he obviously has made, I don't know how many features he's made, 15 feature films or something like that. Don, what's your number?
Unfortunately, not that many.
12? There's a lot of features, So, how has he changed? I guess he's mellowed. He's mellowed.
Not throwing people out of windows as much, I guess?
Not so much.
And Bill, you also, you're a veteran of the whole franchise. One of the things that I noticed tonight was there is a real wonderful thread of music that kind of permeates throughout the whole film. And everything from the tuning fork that ends up being foreshadowing to the other dimension, that wonderful performance that we had in the beginning. Was the musical component of it part of something that Don knew that you guys were that talented and integrated it into the film? Was that something that was like, hey, they seem to be hanging out on that amp and playing some music. I'm going to turn the fucking camera on right now. Where did that come from?
Well, that's a great question. Absolutely, I think music, was a big part of Don's life, and I played Don's Fender Stratocaster in that scene, on the front porch. If you wouldn't mind, sometimes for me the music thing, speaks a little bit better than just saying stuff. And as was mentioned earlier tonight, someone is missing here tonight, Yeah, I brought a guitar actually, and I was wondering, would you mind if I just picked up the?
Let me think. Yes.
Go ahead.
Now, while Bill's setting up, we do have a couple more minutes. We should be bringing up some people, I think, from the new installment. Oh, do you have a list? Oh, you better get your list, because I have a list too, John. Let's see here. Mine's digital, though. So, in about a couple minutes, we're going to see the latest Phantasm movie, Phantasm Ravager, and there are some of the people who are part of that process. Here tonight, we have the director, David Hartman. Where's David?
Dave Hartman.
David, come on down.
David, there he is.
David Hartman's here. Is Stefan here? Stefan Jutras.
Stephen Jutras.
Stefan Stephen, sorry. And Gloria Lynn Henry. Is Gloria here?
Gloria from Phantasm 3 is in the house.
Rocky!
Yeah.
Holy shit, Rocky's in the house!
And I'd like to just to have a couple of people like to announce that the production designers back there, Kathleen Hartman, take a bow. The costume designer, Shelley Kay, take a bow. This is all for Phantasm Ravager. And Gigi Bannister, our co-producer, is back there somewhere. Perhaps off to Gigi and makeup effects.
So this is the first Phantasm that you are not directing. You're still writing, you're still producing it, you're still pretty much the godfather behind the Phantasm series. What is it about the sexy voice, the sexy face of David that made you say, that's my director on this one?
David had worked on my film Bubba Hotep. And I don't know if anybody remembers the scene with the mummy and the hieroglyphs that tumble out of his mouth and say what was it, Dave?
The dog dick of Anubis.
Yeah, eat the dog dick of Anubis. Dave animated these hieroglyphs and they were amazing. But what I loved about Dave is he's a filmmaker, Joe, that we can all learn from, because every weekend he goes out and makes short narrative features. Even though his day jobs as an animation director, doing the Transformers Prime cartoon show, he makes these movies, and I always admired how he would just make so many films, and one day he came to me and he just said, Don, let's go out this weekend and make a Phantasm short. And I thought...
It's funny, because I seem to be calling you every weekend and asking if you can do a fucking Phantasm short, and no one calls me back. Thanks, Don.
Well, sorry there, Joe.
Thanks.
At any rate, I said, well, maybe we need to get a Phantasm actor. So luckily, I talked to Reggie, and Reggie said he was down with it, and we went out and shot on a weekend, and it was just a hoot, and it turned out great. And then we just decided to go forward and make the movie.
One of the things that's you've been so inspiring to so many filmmakers, especially on the last couple of films that you've made, like Bubba Hotep and John Dies at the End, and now Phantasm. You go at your own pace. Like when the movie's done, that's when you say it's done. You don't seem to be hindered by release dates and trying to just get something in the can. You're making that movie until it's right the way you want it. And I mean, I remember seeing stuff about this movie, years ago, and then finally it's like, it's finally come, like the ball is taking out a fucking skyscraper. Thank God.
Well, Dave had to do a few visual effects, so he was tied up for several years doing that. Hey, before we go further, there are a couple other people from the new film I want to introduce to everyone. From Bubba Hotep, Mr. Daniel Schweiger is up there.
There he is.
You'll see him in a few minutes. Also from Bubba Hotep out there and other great movies, Mr. Daniel Roebuck, please take a bow.
Oh, wow, no way.
And we have our new actress, the new Phantasm babe, Miss Dawn Cody. So please take a bow.
Come on.
And she's going to do some great stuff in a few moments.
So, David, really, yes, Michael.
Can I interrupt 1 second?
Please.
I think we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. So I just want to say one thing that's super important. There is a person who's here, and we've met him already, but he really kind of is the unsung hero of Phantasm, and it cannot be overstated enough the contribution of Mr. Paul Pepperman making Phantasm. This guy is right here. I am telling you, the guy was there every second, producing and creating that movie and going forward and forcing the movie to be finished and facilitating in any way possible to get the movie done. And so I would like to just take a brief moment and have a big round of applause for producer Mr. Paul Peppermint.
And Michael, let's talk about some of the stunts that Paul did personally.
Yes, let's
Now,
hear it.
you were walking through the dining room of the house, and how did we fly that door off when the tall man blew it off? It was Paul Pepperman wearing a motorcycle helmet and the back of the door, and he leaped forward and landed on his back and pulled the door on top of him, and that's how we blew a door off the wall.
Amazing.
And that was Paul.
He's a great producer, really great.
So, really quick, I know Bill is ready to rock. Really quick, 1 or 2 questions from the audience. Anybody? Yes, sir, you.
The original movie was basically around 3 hours long. Is there any possibility?
8 hours.
Would anybody want to see that?
Stupidest question of the night, Don.
Could be. You never know.
Don is a great editor, okay, so believe me, what you see is the best version of what Pepperman said.
Touche, sir. Anybody else? One more question. Yes, you. Right there.
Yeah, I was interested. I just noticed the first time in this movie the Dune reference with the hand in the box. Was that intentional?
Well, look, what did Isaac Newton say? We all stand on the shoulders of giants. Yeah, I love Dune. I never thought they'd make a movie out of it, did you? But, we drew on a lot of influences. Thank you, Ray Bradbury. And, of course, Invaders from Mars and Suspiria and a lot of other movies. So, a lot of influences that showed up. Phantasm 3, and we brought him back.
Rocky in the house.
Phantasm 5, it's a small bit. And we have a new actor in Stephen Jutras. And,
Steven. You flew in all the way from New York, right? Flew in for fucking Phantasm Ravager, seriously. Well, without further ado, Bill, take it away. Just sitting here at midnight, and I'll be sitting here till noon. See, my baby left me lonely, yes she did. My baby left me blue, and I'm just so sad and lonely since I lost my love. Blue, I could feel for a lifetime, and I wonder who's holding you, baby. Who's holding you in midnight? Yeah. I'm just sitting here at midnight, drowning myself in wine. And while I'm searching for a reason, look, 100 come to my mind, and I'm just so sad and lonely since I lost my love. Ooh, I can feel for a lifetime, and I wonder who is holding you, baby. Who's holding you in midnight? And I wonder who is holding you, baby.
told her you were midnight. Help me out, Reg. And Reggie said, what did Reggie say? Hello.
We're hot as love.
Thank you. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Phantasm family. So, stretch your legs, take a piss, get some popcorn, 10 minutes, back here, Phantasm Ravager, let's fucking do it.
See you back here.